Good afternoon, Bell Grove. This is Pastor Smalls. I hope all is well, all are doing well, and certainly hope all of us are in prayer and continuing to walk in the spirit and the love of God. This morning, Deacon Johnson came out as we had planned to clean up and prepare for our 101st anniversary, which is 2 weeks, a week from tomorrow. When he opened the door, this is what he found, which you see over my left shoulder. And Deacon Johnson gave me a call, and we all gathered. Deacon Williams, Deacon Johnson, Sister Tracy, and myself came up to do what we were planning to do to clean the church, but this is what awaited us when we got here. So we called the builder, and he got with us, and certainly he's going to have an engineer to come in and try to figure out why we are having these ceiling dropouts. And he sort of pointed out in the attic that there's some regression in the structure of the rafters in the attic and the truss. So we are working on that. And I know this is a shock to you right now as you look, as God has blessed us with this beautiful sanctuary. And worship is just moving like it never moved before. And we see God is at work. And that's exactly my point. Even though I'm standing here in the midst of rubble, I am standing on the rock of Jesus. Because I know that everything that God, everything that happens, whether it's good or whether it's something that disheartening, it is always an opportunity for God to bring to the betterment. So in saying that, I wanted to go ahead and share this video with you and to encourage us that we should keep on keeping on, because God is doing a great thing here at Bell Grove. Sometimes these things happen when we find that there's something going on in the building. Sometimes God is exposing something that may be deeper. So we called the contractor that certainly renovated the inside of our sanctuary. And he pointed out some things that he felt like the rafters were kind of bowing and different things like that. Well, the building, as great as it was building, the great job that the wonderful families did to build this building, it's got age and time on it. But that doesn't mean that it's in the end of its time. So don't worry about where we are now. We still have a very sturdy and very valuable building because it is God's sanctuary. But over time, there are some things that needs to be adjusted. So we're beginning to think that maybe there is some shifting in the attic because of time, and maybe some of the rafters are beginning to weaken. We've also are beginning to see a crack here and there in the sheetrock on the walls in the sanctuary in one or two places. But that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey. This is why we're here, to continue to uplift the name of the Lord, and know that He's got all this in His hands. So I wanted to come to you today to tell you my first purpose of sending you a video is to get you updated on where we are. And you know, the last 2 or 3 years, God has allowed us to do great things. Firstly, in our ministry, because Bell Grove's ministry has a large footprint all over the CSRA. And that is first and foremost, with God's plan, is that we go out and minister to the people, that we have radio, we have street signs, we've done yard signs, we've done so many things that we've been blessed of God, and it blesses God what we are doing. There's not many places I can go that someone doesn't thank us for the yard sign they have under the blood. Prayer changes things. Someone is saying, we've heard your sermon on the radio, saying to my wife, Gwen, we've heard y'all on Church Matters. and thank you. All of this is Bell Grove Ministry. Not only speaking of those things that I personally, as the pastor, is doing, but what our officers are doing in the workplace. Deacon Williams, Deacon Johnson, Reverend Smith, all of you are certainly touching people's lives here at Bell Grove and out in the vineyard. So, and that's what God expects. So great things are happening here. And we need to know that when something like this happens, that's usually a precursor for greater things that God has for us. And this is what we want you to hold on to. We needed to bring this to you because on tomorrow, Sunday, which is the 3rd, we will not have in-house worship, but we will be streaming, and God's willing, we will have Sunday school and the sermon from right here in the sanctuary, because God is still in this building. We may have a hole in the ceiling, but God is still in the building. But speaking of that hole in the ceiling, over the years, over the last 15, 20 years, we've had different dropouts in our ceiling. One was due to water, and we understood that. But a couple others just happened to drop out where the sheetrock separated from the rafters. And that's a sign of something else that may be going on in the attic. As I told you earlier, some shifting going on. It may be major, it may be minor. But whatever it is, we're not anxious about anything because we know this is God's house, right? And we need to know that God's house, if God's house is certainly his house, we know that he has it. And all we have to do is continue to walk by faith and respond to the needs that God wants us to respond to. So this week, Monday, we are going to get busy on repairing this and certainly seeing what we need to do to prevent that from happening and truly get this ceiling reinforced and structured, whatever the source of the problem may be. But we want to encourage you that we want to encourage your prayers. We want to continue to encourage your continual ministries. And we certainly want you to encourage your giving. Now, one thing, the many things we've been able to accomplish over the last 2-3 years with the small amount of people we have, with some that God has called home and some who are sick, God has been doing a great thing with us. And I'm just so thankful. But what we need for you to do, giving all of the things we have to do, as you know, the parking lot will soon be approved. That's been delayed over a year and a half because of one thing or another. But we do know that it's at the state level now, and once they approve it, we can roll the trucks in to pave the parking lot. And you know, when God puts you on a progressive journey, as Nehemiah say, there's a lot of little things will get in your way. And some of them is not bad or good. It's just things that happen that will try to shake your faith. Bell Grove, we're not going to allow our faith to be shaken. What we want to do, we want all of us to pull together, continue to pray, continue to trust in the Lord. And I'm going to ask everyone, as Jesus said one time when they were dealing with demons with the disciples, and the disciples could not heal the hand of a young man. The disciples asked Jesus, why could we not heal him? He said, this type of thing takes praying, fasting, and prayer. And right now, we want to ask all of the church to go into fasting and prayer. Now, I know that sort of sends up a signal of concern, because it's hard for people to fast when you're always eating and enjoying everything you want. Well, the kind of fasting we want is the effort to just deny ourselves for a moment for the will of God, and showing the unity in the church for the will of God, that Lord, we are here, we want to be in oneness, and we certainly want to continue your blessings upon us and help us to continue to realize these goals, because there's a bigger vision, a larger vision ahead. So what we want to do, we want everybody on this Wednesday coming up. This Wednesday, we'll give you a few days to think about it, but this Wednesday, we want everyone to fast for lunch. And for the entire month of March, on Wednesday, if you would just fast for lunch. Now, some may say, well, that's not fasting. Yes, it is. Fasting is simply self-denial. Just saying, I'm going to fast for lunch. Eat your good breakfast, but fast for lunch. So you can tell your body, flesh, get out of my way, because I am fasting for the Lord. So we're asking everybody to fast for lunch every Wednesday, every month, every day of the month of April. Fast for lunch every Wednesday for the month of April. And as we go forward, we want to include fasting. As we continue to pray, we want to include fasting in our ministry going forward, in our congregation going forward, and that fasting for lunch. And I believe that the Lord will certainly show us some signs of his grace and favor lifting up Belle Grove Baptist Church. So we want you to certainly do that. The other thing we need you to do is be diligent in prayer. Be diligent in prayer. Position yourself in the prayer. And the way to position yourself in prayer is certainly, as Paul told the church in Philippi, he said, be anxious about nothing. Don't be anxious about this right here. Don't worry about that. God's got that. We've been here before. We don't worry about who didn't do this and who did that and who do this, because that's judgment and it gets you out of position with God. God wants us to all have all things in common and not stand in a place of, well, I should have told you this, because nobody should have told nobody anything because they didn't know. This is one of these things that happen, and they happen, and it happens more often than not in everywhere, in commercial situations, in homes. It happens. My home, our home a couple of years ago, came home and the ceiling was out like this in the kitchen. So on the other side of tragedy, if you have faith, there's so much more God is waiting to give us. So Belle Grove, we need you to know that God is able. So we want you in prayer, anxious about nothing, but in everything by prayer, thanksgiving, and supplication, making your request known to God. You need to know that God is going to hear your prayer. And we have to be in that position so God can hear our prayer. What we want to do as a church at Belle Grove, and I feel the power of Belle Grove growing. I feel that core that's here all the time, that's continuing to grow together in the oneness of the Spirit. Our worship service is just moving beyond imagination, and we want to continue to pray to come into number, which God's willing, we'll be right back next week for our anniversary, morning and afternoon. But we want you to continue to pray and trust in the Lord. Then pray for our fellow members who are trying to find their way back, who are trying to pray for barriers to be moved, pray for hope to be built, and opportunities to be created so all of our members can find their way back into worship. Pray for the spirit, a worshipful spirit, a spirit of gratitude on the whole church family. Just continue to pray in the name of the Lord and watch that. So we're talking about fasting and prayer. And then the other thing we want you to do, God wants us to minister. He's saying, what you're doing for me. We want you to be a light. Jesus said, be a light upon the hill and the salt of the earth. So what that means is everywhere you are, wherever you go, show the light of who you are in Christ. Say hello to everybody who you encounter, and certainly, and I know some people say it's hard to do that. That's why you got to do it. Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. So we want you to understand that. Show that faith. Show that God is watching every aspect of our lives. The other thing we need, with the parking lot coming forward, with all the things that God is doing, and it's happening. It's been happening for 23 years, from the steeple to the garden to every aspect of this church. you all and us in oneness have pulled us together. And it certainly, firstly, glorifies God, and it certainly gives honor to the families that came before us that worked so hard. My heart goes out. And I'm encouraged when I think about the labor and the efforts in 1973 when the families built this sanctuary. And there was nothing more important to me than to before my day is ended, that we have brought this place to even a higher place, which they built the foundation for. So we are so thankful for the privilege of what God has given us to do here at Bell Grove. We are so thankful for the way he is showing his hand. And he's showing his hand right now with this. Because we had one member that went to the hospital for one thing, and they fixed that one thing, but in route of fixing that one sickness, they found something else that could have took their lives. So you need to know, sometimes when you think it's a bump in the road, it's just a way God gets your attention and say, I'm fixing something here. Friday, I was here at the church and doing some cleaning up, praying and meditating. And on my way out, the Spirit said to me, go and close all of the keyboards, cover the keyboards, and close the organ and close the piano. And Deacon Johnson come in this morning, and this is what we found. And there's dust all over the place. Now look at God. You need to know God has got a plan, but where our mind goes determines how it comes together. That's what this is all about. So we ask you for fasting every Wednesday at noon. Give up that sandwich. Give up that burger. Give up that sloppy meatball sub or whatever you're doing. And just for the Lord, and meditate and drink some water. I know it's going to be hard. Some of you are going to be talking about, child, it's so hard. But that's what God wants you to do. He's not going to put no more on you than you can bear. And then also, in prayer and meditation with the Lord. Then walk in the light as he is the light. And that is our reasonable service to do that. And then the other thing is, we need you to support our endeavors. Now, we thank God for everybody who's supporting. And I'm telling you, you have supported our endeavors. And certainly we don't take anything lightly, whether it's a penny to $1,000, we don't take it lightly. But giving to the church is a big part of our progress. It's a big part of us making plans and fulfilling things. And with the plans we have now, once the parking lot is paved, we've got to put in shrubbery, which is more collateral costs. So there'll be other things that we're going to be involved in that we are going to need funding to do that. So all we are asking everyone to do for anniversary, if you can, for church anniversary, if you can give $1 per year, that's $101 for our church anniversary. If you can, you know, over the years, we've never despaired what anybody gave, because you must give without being compelled and give with gratitude in your heart. And I know everybody has a heart full of gratitude for God for all he's done. But give what you can give. But we want you to try to give a little harder if you can, so we can reach these goals, because we've got a lot of goals to reach. And in the past, I've never worried about it. I just asked. Jesus said, you have not because you ask not. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find, and knock it shall be open to you. So I'm asking to give graciously, give back to God to the point where it hurts a little bit. The big thing is giving consistently. If everybody gave consistently, whatever it is, it helps us to reach those goals, and it totally provides what the church needs. The church has never been short of what it needed financially, but we are being ahead of the situation. The church is aging. We've got other things we're going to have to tend to. Soon we're going to need a HVAC system down the road, another year or two. So all of these things we want to get ahead of the game. But right now we want to complete all of the renovations that God has given us. And some of those things are going to involve collateral cost. It's going to involve the gate when we get it out there. It's going to involve shrubbery, as I said earlier. We're going to have to bring the sidewalk up the specs and all those things. We have to continue maintenance on our garden and everything. And we have had an increase, not an increase, but a decrease in giving, because some people have been called home and some people have lost income, and we understand that. But all we are doing is asking by the Spirit that we know that you all love your church, and first and foremost, you love God. And we are doing great things here. Don't let nobody tell you anything else. Our sign ministry gets much feedback. We have prayer line. It's getting that. We have so many different various ministries going on. So we are doing the work of God. We're not a large church, but we are a potent church. That means we are full of the Spirit, and certainly we are impacting just like a light. Our wattage is bright. So we want all of you to pull together and help us join this. And we need to see your face in the place. We need to know that because you have gifts. We need you here. No matter whether you think you do nothing when you come to worship, your face blesses all of us. All of us. And every one of you is a light of the Lord. So understand that. I'm excited. I'm just going to tell you. I'm excited the way things are going. And I know someone, if they come and see this video, talking about, what is he excited about? Look at all that back there. We've been there before. But what God is doing, he's fixing it where we don't have to go back there right now. But whatever comes our way, we know that God is able. So we want you to understand that. And let us continue to stay in prayer for everyone. Let us continue to walk in the Spirit of the Lord. And let us continue to fill these goals at Belle Grove, because the best is yet to come. You need to know that God's got a big plan up here on Highway 19 for Belle Grove. It's not about comparison. It's not about that. It's about what God has given us to do. And I feel it in my spirit, in my bones every day. And I tell the history over and over. So let's get ready for anniversary. We're asking everybody to give that anniversary gift to Belle Grove. And we're asking you to come and join us. We love you. We want all your faces in the place. I want all my children's here. I'm from Bollywop, Georgia. I say children's, not children from New York. But I want all of them here. You see what I'm saying? We love you. And let me tell you something. We're having a great time in here. And when you get in here and settle down and know what God is doing, we've got video, televisions and everything that's on the way at some point. Because I know that as a church, our faith, by faith, God is going to deliver all those things for us. But when we get in here, we're going to have a time. We're already having a time. And all we want you to do is say, yes, Lord. From the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul, completely yes. Yes, Lord, I'm yours. We just thank you for the day, this moment, Belle Grove. Continue to pray for me as your pastor, because this has been a long journey, but it's been a good journey. I have no complaints, and I pray for you all the time. Love y'all so much. Continue to walk. Let us continue to walk in the oneness of the Spirit, in the bond of Jesus Christ. And let us continue the effectual working of us as saints together in our gifts and coming in the Spirit so that God can habitate with us every Sunday. Know that today. This is Pastor Smalls. Love y'all so much. We'll be streaming tomorrow. Join us. And if you need to call me or any questions or anything you have, give me a call. God bless you. Be encouraged.